Mic check 1, 2, 3. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on the time and where you are watching this right now. And yeah, today I tried something new. Today I put up the topic up front that I am going to talk about. I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with that, but something that I am experimenting because I was trying to figure out how to change the thumbnail on LinkedIn, and I couldn't find an option, at least on my mobile. Right, today I think I'll try on the web app and see if there is an option to change it. And basically, what I do on YouTube is after the live stream, it takes about 1 day for it to reflect on my channel. And then the next day, basically, I change the thumbnail to reflect the topic, to show the topic in the thumbnail itself. And I also update the heading, right, and a title and description also. Now that I think about it, I don't know if I did it for the last video. Anyway, something to check after the at the end of this today's live stream. Now, coming to the topic of for today is user testing, and we are going to talk about a particular type of user testing, right? And a particular activity, and that is think aloud technique. Right now, let me go to my screen share and show you guys what I mean. Right. So, okay. So if I spell it out, right, it's think aloud, or it is think out loud technique. And some of you may be familiar with this technique. The idea here is to give your product, your design, or even your competitor's design sometimes, right? And we'll talk more about it maybe in a different session, why you would give your competitor's product to your users, right, to test. But yeah, give your product, your design, and ask your users to complete a task, right, or a series of tasks. And then you ask them to speak out loud whatever that they are thinking, whatever that is going on in their head while they are doing the activity. And of course, there are a few tips and tricks that I will share. And today, what I am going to do is I've already put together a list of tasks that I want to do, or a series of tasks that I want to do. We'll first go ahead. It will not be, we'll not do it in the same order, but yeah, we'll pick one task at a time, and then I'll demonstrate. I'll pretend to be the user and speak out loud what I am thinking. Right. So I think I've always enjoyed these sessions, especially when I am conducting the testing. Right. And of course, I have enjoyed it when I am the user, right, for whatever design that I am testing. Okay, so let's take and ignore this sidebar. I'll, in fact, I think hide it maybe. Let's see. Yeah. So the first task that we are going to take is convert a Google product into a desktop app. So this will be fairly straightforward. What I want to do is, so just like how you see apps here, you can convert any of the web apps into an app that shows like this. Right. So let me try do that with free pick, because this is a service that I use frequently, and of course not as frequently I would like to use it, but I use this at least maybe once or twice a month. Right, but ideally you pick up something that you use maybe every day. Um, so let's try converting free pick first, and then I'll see if I want to convert something else. Now, the idea is convert this, right? Now I'm going into the mode of a user, and I'm going to speak out loud whatever I'm thinking. All right, so now I want to convert this into a desktop app, and I'm opening this to see if there is if the option is here. And at a glance, I did not find the option. So what I'm going to do is read through these items one by one. Okay, it says install this site as an app. I'm gonna try that. Um, okay, and I think I'll give it a name. It was not okay with the default name. I think it took the title. Okay, I mistyped A at the end. I'm gonna say install. Okay, it's not bad. I don't like the icon because it's not very visible in my dock, but it was fairly straightforward and simple. And this worked out great. Let's try this for one more app. Alright, so what I am going to do is maybe try WordPress. I'm gonna say, okay, this is one way. I know there is another way also. Um, let me try and find that. Uh, Web capture, web collect, read out loud, developer tools. App available, install WordPress.com. Okay, so this is another way, but it's the same command. I remember a different command. So now what I'm going to do is let me try this with Google Chrome. Okay, it says install Google Maps, share this page, and okay, let me see if there is something here. Save page as, name window, clear browsing data. Okay, save pages. I don't think uh, it creates that icon. Okay, even here it is only install Google Maps, and it is installed. Okay, so I think they have changed it now. Okay, I'm gonna stop pretending that I am a user now, and coming back to the demonstration itself, right? I think what they have done is it used to be a different option, but it certainly is easier. But I was confused a little, and if I am used to this previous option more often, right, I'll be thinking, and one of the things that I was thinking, which I failed to do, and this is something that users also very commonly do. Right now, when I was trying to install Google Maps, um, okay, or let's say because it is already installed, it's not giving me the option. Um, okay, now see this, right? So when I click on it, the thought that came to my mind was, will it install a desktop app, right? Instead of putting it inside a browser wrapper, right? That's what it essentially does. When I click install, it just creates a browser window that is standalone and only fetches Google Drive URLs, right? If I have to put it in simpler terms. Now, my confusion was when I was about to click on this install app. I can now choose an app to open this link, choose an app. Will it install a desktop application? And what I mean by that is when I go to, let's say, blender.org, this is an open source 3D tool. And if I go to download, I was wondering, okay, when and I click on download, right? What happens is it downloads a .dmg, and then I open it, right? It's basically an installer, and if it is Windows, I think it's been a long time since I used a Windows machine. I think it's still .exe, so it'll download an exe and it'll install uh, the software on your machine, right? And I was confused whether it'll do that instead of just creating a browser wrapper. So that was one confusion that I had because previously it was more clear, at least for me, because I'm a more tech savvy user, right? But anyway, that's the point, right? What are the confusions that someone might have? when they use a certain, or when they are trying to complete a task, or when they are trying to use a certain feature, etc. And ideally, I should have spoken out loud when I had that confusion. And when you are trying to complete something, you're so involved in it, you forget that you have to speak out loud, and you have to constantly. This is tip number one, right? You have to constantly remind your users to uh, speak out loud whatever that they are thinking. And a good indicator is whenever they are absolutely silent and they look confused, it means there is something going on in their head and they are trying to figure out something. And immediately that remind them to speak out loud whatever that they are thinking. Now let's take the second task, and I want to take a slightly or probably a complex task, which is book a hotel room for stay in Austria. Austria is one of those countries that I have always wanted to go. Hopefully, someday it'll happen. Now, what I want to do is now I'm going to start pretending as a user, and let me use Edge. And I'm also going to use Bing search instead of Google search, and see how this turns out, right? And let's imagine we are testing the entire experience across tools. And let's say we are testing this, and of course, it's very important to have some objective whenever you are doing any kind of user testing, right? And without an objective, and of course, a success or a metric to measure how a design performs, it'll be difficult to interpret the output or to have any actionable insights into the user testing, which I'll come to right at the end of this user testing session. I'm not going to talk about the measurement criteria, right, for this testing, but let's just talk about the objective. We want to see how easy or difficult it is today for someone to find a hotel stay somewhere in Europe. In this case, we are taking Austria, right? And I'm going to say the budget for me per night is, I'm going to keep it as, because Austria is an exotic location, I'm going to keep the budget as 100 to 200 euros per night, right? All right, so let me start with. First, I think I'll start with so I'm now getting into the user's shoes. I'm going to pretend I'm the user now. Starting now. Austria. I want to first find a location, so I'm going to say Austria places to visit. Okay. Top 10, 40, best 34 best places, and then we'll pick a city, and then we'll book a book a hotel room, meeting room, it seems. All right, 34 best places to visit. Hopefully, I'll find a city. Okay, Vienna sounds good. I've seen it in many, many movies, especially from Tom Cruise's one of the Mission Impossible movies. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend I'm going to be in Vienna, Austria, from September 25th till October 5th for 10 days. All right. I'm going to say hotel booking. Okay, so the first link that I see is booking.com. Actually, I was expecting what I see in Google usually. Let me quickly show you that also. The Vienna, Austria hotel booking. Oops. Okay, so they show you this interface where I can select the dates and see the availability right in the search results page, which is, I think, not here. Okay, yeah, it's not here. I thought it might be. Oh, okay, it is here. All right, it's so buried deep at the bottom. I don't think I would even bother to go there. So I'm going to pretend I did not see that, and we'll come back to that booking experience again. Now I'm going to click on booking.com. I like booking it on Agoda. So let me open, I'm sorry, let me go to Agoda also. And booking.com, okay, I'm gonna select, okay, I don't like this and I don't know what this icon means. And it says, okay, I'm gonna read sign in and save up to 50% on members only deals. And if I'm honest, I was just gonna close this and not even read that. Right, so that's a good insight. Uh, what would be your users' reaction when they see something like that? Okay, so now I'm gonna select the dates, 25th, and the end date is. I like that, it shows me a continuous, I think, box to show me from my start and end date very clearly. And I'm going to select only two. I don't know why this is stuck here now because I expected this to disappear as soon as I open this. And it's still here, so that's kind of annoying. And I'm gonna click on search, and it says search hotels. Okay, so it says 94,000 rupees, and I don't know why it. Okay, that I was selecting the text here, and but in fact it just opened the link in a new window, and I'm gonna close this one now because I don't want to log in now. Okay, 94,000 rupees. Now I want to convert this into euros, or do I? Think last time I checked, it was roughly 85 rupees per euro. I'm gonna assume that's the rate you earn now. And if I convert it into 100 euros, it is 8,500 rupees per night. And it says 10 nights. So this roughly falls in my budget. So if I say anything between 94,000 to 1 lakh, sorry, 2 lakhs, it is comfortably within my budget. Right, so now, okay, this is good, but the photo is not very exciting. I'm gonna keep scrolling. Okay, this looks fine. It looks like one of the hotels I stayed in Italy when I went there for my honeymoon. It's very personal. TMI probably. But anyway, I'm gonna just open it in the background in a new tab, and I'll probably go see that. And this also looks very interesting, but it looks more like a bar photo than the hotel room photo. And this is interesting. If you are, for a moment, I'm going to pretend I'm the observer, right? The difference in photos, right? They are showing a bar photo here, and they are showing the external or the hotel's photo here, and the user in this case opened both of these links. And if your event is tied to the kind of photo that is displayed, the type of photo that is displayed, then you would know, okay, how many times um, the user is opening a link when you show the exterior of a hotel and an interior of a hotel, right? And this can be tied back to see, whether users open links or hotels that show the interior or the exterior. But that's analytics, right? You're talking about thinking out loud. In this case, the user has given equal importance, and maybe not this because it looks kind of boring. That's also another insight. I'm going to go back to pretending being a user. Okay, even though this is a room, it looks kind of nicer, and the view is also of a skyline. I'm usually a sucker for skylines, so I'm gonna open this also. And what I'm going to do in this case, because this is a demonstration, I'm gonna limit it to just 5. Usually, I do about 15 to 20 hotels, right? And this also looks very interesting. It looks more like a serviced apartment than a hotel room, and it's also in a very good budget. So I'm gonna say open link in new tab. You're gonna find one more hotel. This is very interesting. I love the architecture here. It's very uneven and interesting. So I'm gonna open this also, and it's quite cheap. Now the next thing, I'm gonna start looking at the photos. Okay, this is not bad. I like all of these photos, especially this one, the dining hall. It's cozy. Um, okay, this is a little concerning because it has only a single bed. Okay, they have two beds here. And this is what I am talking about, right? Thinking out loud my thoughts. Okay, the uh, bathroom looks neat, and the view also, I think, is nice. This is great. Now, what else? What else? What else? I'm just scrolling through the rest of the photos. The street photos look great. I think they're showing the location of the hotel, and the location seems very nice. It looks like a very walkable, uh, pedestrian friendly location. I guess almost all locations and I don't like that when I close it, it goes back here, and especially when I open this, when I click on this, I expect it to go back to this gallery, right? But it keeps going back to that. That's why I keep closing this and coming back to this gallery, which is annoying. Which is a good insight for the observer, who's observing. Right? And ideally, when they try to repeat these tasks multiple times as an observer, tip number two, ask them maybe at the end, wait until the end of the session. Do not interrupt the flow, maybe. And make a note of it and then ask them why they did that, right? The user. So that is tip number two. Whenever you see someone doing repeated tasks, that's a good indicator that either something is very good with that feature or something is wrong with that feature, right? Because the user might come back because they find repeatedly because they find useful information, or they are coming back because they're accidentally going away or moving away from that particular screen, right? So that's tip number two. Okay, so they're all, I think they're showing nearby places. So I think this is a good option. I'm gonna keep this. The only thing that I don't like here is I don't know if they have a single bed, but I think that is something that I can find just before uh, booking. Right, so I'm gonna move to the next item, and this looks fantastic right off the bat. It looks very posh and classy, and even the room photos look great. And I love this one. Especially. It looks sophisticated. Right, so this is great. Again, I was tempted to close this close button, and I'm still struggling to learn this interaction because always whenever I open a photo in a bigger size, I close it and go back to the gallery screen. But here it's a different interaction, which is frankly at this point annoying. Um, okay, I'm going to go back. So all this looks fantastic. I want to look at. Okay, it's a very one. It's a completely different setup in the rooms because all of this has a very dark color theme, a very dully lit thing, and all of a sudden the interiors are very bright. And I would have liked it if the interiors are also in this very dull lit and darker theme, right? But okay, I think this is something that I can live with. But now that I've gotten a taste of this, I think I should find something that has an interior also like this. But let me see. Okay, moving on to the next. I think this is by far my first choice, and I think it'll be the hotel that I will book. Okay, this looks very similar. The room at least looks very similar to the one that we saw, and even the exteriors look very similar, but it has more of a modern vibe compared to the other one, especially the furniture and things like that. Because I've seen the other one, this Ruby Lissy Hotel. Maybe I'll skip this one for now. Okay, now I'm no longer interested in this because again, this is the benchmark now for the other hotels. I'm gonna skip that and I'm gonna see what these guys has to offer. Unless these guys have something really crazy and impressive, I don't think I will choose this. Okay, they don't have anything crazy and impressive, and it looks very monotonous and repetitive. Right now I'm going into interior design, so I think I'll book this hotel but if I was genuinely doing this, right, I'd look at maybe five or at least 10 hotels more and see if there is anything that is better than this and choose this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on reserve now, and I'm going to select, okay, one large double bed. That's great. I want to see if they have breakfast included. It says good breakfast included. I don't know what that means. Usually it's just breakfast included. Now this is throwing me off and making me a little skeptical because it feels like they are trying too hard and maybe the breakfast might not be good, right? And again, I'm speaking out my thoughts, right? And yeah, so okay, I'm a little skeptical, but I'll still go ahead and choose one with breakfast because I always like to have the safety net of having breakfast in the place that I am staying. Okay, so this is good. I'm just thinking if I should check for something else. Okay, let me go through this list. Shower, safety deposit, toilet, okay, towels, linen, blah blah blah. Okay, all of this seems great, but let me see what are the other options. Do they have a balcony view? I don't know. That is something that I also see. I don't know what's the difference between this and this. One large double bed, one large double bed, air conditioning. Soundproofing. It's impossible to figure out what is the difference between these two. Soundproofing. Okay, it's all the same. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I think this is a problem here. I'm not able to compare what is the difference between these two. I'm not able to figure out that. And let me click on I'll reserve. It says, okay, total length of stay. Okay, no account needed. Booking takes just 2 minutes. Okay, I am clicking on I'll reserve. It's interesting. It says no account needed. Are you traveling for work? No. Okay. Okay. 188,000 euros. Now I'm wondering if I'll be paying in euros or in rupees because based on that I'll use an appropriate credit card. Right. And I'd ideally like to pay in rupees because then I will not be charged a currency conversion fee, right? Because there is this conversion itself, and they charge you 1,000 to 2,000 rupees as a conversion fee from one currency to another currency, and it totally depends on the credit card that you will use. Right now, it's not clear because they are showing me both values. The price is converted to show you the approximate cost. You will pay in euros. Okay, they're saying it here. Now I don't want to take this. I want to have an option of paying it in rupees, and ideally I'll go to Agoda, right, if I am the user, and then choose that also. So this again is another. Now I'm stopping pretending to be the user. So this is another example of speak out loud technique, right? And like I said, tip number one: whenever the user is in complete silence and they look puzzled and confused, ask them to speak out loud and ask them what they are thinking, right? And the second tip is whenever they are doing something repetitive, uh, ask them, maybe take a note of it, wait until the end of the session and ask them why they did this particular thing repeatedly. All right, and wherever, and another thing that you should do while you are observing is take a note of the places where the user had a very pleasant expression and also a very frustrating expression. And in my experience, frustration is, I'm sorry. I'll go get some water, but I'll complete this thought before I go there. Go take some water, right? In my experience, the frustration is much more obvious and much appears more frequently in these sessions than a pleasant experience because very rarely people get excited about completing any task or completing any goal. But yeah, it may be more frequent in things like this when they are trying to book a hotel. Like when I was excited about seeing that really nice, well put interior. Right. So yeah, continuously make a note of what are all the places that they were really excited and they were really frustrated and puzzled and things like that. And and you do this typically with 4 or 5 users, right? And you also after you record all these sessions, by the way, and you try to come up with a map, right, and see how much of an overlap is there in terms of the sequence of steps that you do. And there are a bunch of analysis that you can do. Again, this totally depends on the objectives, right, that you define for the testing session itself, and see how much of an overlap is there between different users, and see if there is a theme that is appearing, right, or if there is a repeated excitement points, and if there are repeated frustration points in the overall testing. So yeah, that's those are some of the things to keep in mind. Now, coming to the measurement criteria, before I start, let me go get some water. Just give me a minute, and I'm sorry about this. Okay, I hope you guys can still hear me. Now, coming to measurement criteria, right? How do you define it? Why you should define it, and so on. So, objective is what you should define first. I want to see for come up with a plan. Right, these are the tasks that I want to test, and these are the reasons why I want to test it. Right, and the reasons could be I want to see in this change that we are trying to introduce, or in this new feature that we are trying to introduce, how does it impact? If it is a change, how does it impact their workflow, right? Or how does it impact the conversion rate? Does it? I mean, conversion rates are difficult to test in these type of sessions. It is easier to do, easier to identify, and probably the right way to identify conversion rates is using analytics, right? But yeah, how does it? So if there are 20 steps today in a workflow, I'm reducing it to maybe 15 steps. And what is the impact in terms of how much time it takes to complete the 15 steps and also to complete the 20 steps? Maybe a comparison. Maybe there is a difference, maybe there isn't difference. Now, this becomes your measurement criteria, right? As soon as you identify the objective. Now, your measurement criteria becomes, okay, today it takes maybe 6 minutes to complete these 20 steps. Um and I want to see if it saves half the time, right? If it brings it down to 3 minutes, or even better, if it brings it down to less than 2 minutes or less than 1 minute, then I would consider this as a great value, because depending on how much effort you think it will take for you to make that change in the product, right? How much investment you have to make. You also define the ROI that you want out of it, right? So yeah, that's how you define the measurement. And another example is we did this when we were making changes to one of our internal tools in my previous company called ProChant. And it was a redesign of their menu system, and they had close to 200 menu items in their day-to-day operations product, and was used by roughly about 700 to 800 people. And not all 200 menu items are accessible by everyone, right? If someone is assigned to a certain process, right, or a group of processes or a bunch of processes, they have access to maybe 30 to 40. But once you go one level above, let's say at a team lead level or a manager level or at a director level, they had access to all of these menus, but the number of users again becomes much smaller, right? At from team lead till, let's say, VP and head of the company, the total number of users is about maybe not more than 20, right? And the value that you would get by optimizing the menu for those 20 users may not be uh, may not be a lot. Right, then you would focus on maybe the 50 or 60 menu items, or maybe 30 or 40 menu items that these 600 and or 700 odd employees use. Right? And what we did is we came up with a new structure for the menu item, and we asked users to find uh, items in the new structure. And we did not drastically change it because there was a lot of learning that already the user has gone through to understand the structure. Right, so we optimized it a little bit, and we wanted to know if they are able to still find. One of the measurement criteria is how many attempts it took for them to find the menu, right? And we kept a very, very stringent success criteria. Basically, if something takes more than two attempts, we mark that as a failure, right, for the design. And many times, this is one of the projects that I am very proud of, because many times the users were able to find it in the first attempt itself in the new structure, right? And there were a few items where they took even up to very, very few items. Let's say if we asked them to find 10 to 15 items in the new structure, they took maybe for one item up to 7 or 8 attempts. And those items were a trend, right? In each user session, we tested this with about 15 to 20 employees. And each time, uh, the users struggle to find the same item, right? And then we did one more iteration on it, and then we cross-listed it. Basically, what we did was wherever that they were trying to find that particular item, right, in their first or second attempt, we noticed that there is a pattern, right? There is a certain place they are trying to find this particular menu item, and then we just retrofitted it in that particular category. And we also did cross listing. What we did was we listed it in the same category where the users were trying to find, and also in another place where we initially designed. Right? It's basically a cross listing scenario. So this can also be another measurement criteria when you are doing testing like this, or a think out loud session like this. So I think that's pretty much it. I know it's a very, very short topic and we covered a very, very specific item. What I want to do is maybe in another session, not necessarily tomorrow or Monday, how to put together, talk in more detail, how to put together a plan for a usability testing session, right? And how to conduct the session, because that is something I feel is missing in today's session. And I think it's important to have a plan before you go into any activity, right? Not just usability testing. So I think that I will do in a different session very soon. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. And as always, if you have any feedback on any of these topics that I am talking about, and if you feel that there is something that I am not covering, or probably I misspoke or misrepresented something, please do let me know in the comments, or DM me either in LinkedIn. And if you know me personally, feel free to ping me in any other channels, Instagram, WhatsApp, and whatnot. I'm more than happy. And in fact, I want to know those things that I am not covering, right? Probably, not doing right. Right. So that I can also learn. So that's about it for today's session, and I'll see you guys tomorrow or on Monday. See you guys.